The NBA playoffs have had some pretty good games, but the most recent games between the Cavs and Celtics and the Warriors and Spurs were not necessarily as dramatic, although the Warriors-Spurs first game was pretty dramatic. The favorites have been taking care of business throughout the playoffs here. CBS Sports' Bill Reiter joins us to talk about the NBA playoffs and much more. Bill, good to see you here.
Good to be here.
In studio. Game 2, Celtics-Cavs tonight. Game 1 was not all that close, necessarily. If Boston cannot do something at home tonight, one would think they're in pretty big trouble.
Yeah, and I think even if they were to do that, Jeff, and I don't think they will, they're in pretty big trouble. They've overachieved, and they're a 1 seed for a reason. But LeBron James and the Cavs are hell-bent on getting back to the finals, and I don't think we've ever seen a basketball player, including Michael Jordan, play basketball at this level over a 12-month period, go back to last year's finals. This is a team on a mission. I don't think anyone not named the Warriors can beat these guys.
Cavs are fully healthy, right?
Yeah, they are.
Which has been a question in the past for them, certainly keeping the big three and others healthy as well. What does Boston have to do if they want to make it into a series?
So the hardest thing is going to be Isaiah Thomas is their dynamic scorer, and he's been remarkable this year, 53 points in a playoff game, obviously dealing with the death of his sister. She died just the day before the playoffs began. It's been an emotional difficulty for him. But he's 5'7", 5'8", and he's just not big enough against some of the long, athletic guys that the Cavs have to get off his own shot, to play the way that he has. We've seen LeBron, we've seen J.R. Smith, we've even seen Kyrie Irving be able to thwart what he's done. They've got to be able to create space for Isaiah Thomas and make him be the hero. If not, there's no other scorer who can even remotely compete with these guys.
I'm trying to remember what the season series was between the Celtics have had some success in the past.
They did.
Right?
In fact, there was a point where the 1 seed was sort of up for debate, and Cleveland beat them, but they had been more or less evenly matched up until then. The problem is LeBron sort of knows how to do this. He goes into a lower gear. He sort of holds off in terms of energy and minutes. He saved it for the playoffs, and they've got a different gear. There's a different gear than anyone else.
Just as Jordan did.
He did, yeah.
Back in the day. All right, so Warriors-Spurs. We mentioned Game 1. Spurs were up by 25 points at one point in the second quarter, I think it was.
Yeah.
23 at halftime. Warriors came back, and then Game 2 became a bit of a joke, unfortunately.
It really did. And Greg Popovich actually compared the injury that happened to Kawhi Leonard to manslaughter in a press conference later on. It just sort of speaks to the level, and it's irrational, but how much he knows this series is over. With Kawhi Leonard out those games, you have no chance against this Warriors team. And even if they rush him back, which they probably shouldn't do, but they might, he's not going to be 100%. He's not just their best scorer. He's their best defensive player. That first game was the real chance for the Spurs to at least make a series of it, and it obviously went away.
And Zaza Pachulia is being allowed into San Antonio?
Under armed guard, I hope. He's not a very popular guy, but he'll be allowed.
Well, he wasn't before this necessarily even, which I think in the context of his career, which is why some people are not happy with what happened in Game 1 when he slid under.
Yeah, he's
Kawhi Leonard as the papers slide off. A lot of sliding here today. How about that?
Zaza did it.
It's like a dealer at a card table. I want to talk. If we assume that it's going to be Warriors Cavs at this point, how would this series be different than what we saw last year?
Well, I think the difference will be a couple things. One, obviously, Kevin Durant's now a part of this team. So you take the second or third best player in the game and maybe the best scorer and add it to a 73-win team. That's dynamic. And I'm not making excuses for the Warriors, but Steph Curry had been injured early in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
He wasn't 100%. Yeah. And you're not going to have Draymond Green, presumably, kicked out of a game for kicking someone where you're not supposed to. And it's a fourth thing. These guys are hell-bent for revenge. I think it'll be a very, very different Warriors team.
Well, but so Curry is healthy, but Kevin Durant, I mean, he's been playing, but I don't know whether the knee is still affecting him or not.
So far, so good. I think with Durant, there's always, like Mr. Glass and Unbreakable, a little bit of a concern. You're just going to breathe on him. He's going to hurt himself. But he was marvelous in that Game 1 comeback against the Spurs for a long stretch of the game. They sat Steph, and Durant looked like his old, healthy self, was able to score and create for himself. He'll probably be fine. And the scary thing about the Warriors is even if he goes down, which very well he may not, he should be healthy. But even if he does, they've got Steph and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. They're loaded.
I still think there might be some interesting games in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, or both teams could sweep as they've done so far. If we get to that point where it is the rematch from last year, do Do you like any particular team this year?
You know, it's such a tough call because I was talking to sources yesterday in Cleveland, and they are quietly very confident that they will beat the Warriors. Then I talked to some Warriors sources. They are quietly very confident they'll beat the Cavs. The only thing, Jeff, I feel good about is it'll be a 6 or 7 game, grind it out, very physical game series. I like the Warriors. I think it's the Warriors, but man, I got to stop doubting LeBron James.
And I forget. So the Warriors obviously would have home court again.
Yeah, they would.
Better record in the regular season. They don't switch back and forth.
So yep, it'll be 2-2, 1-1-1. The final game would be at Oracle, which is a tough place to play. But last year LeBron did it, and so for me, it's the best. A guy that could be the best player of all time against a team that could be the best team of all time. It's hard to say what'll happen.
I want to talk MMA and boxing now as well, because a couple guys involved in what has been a long negotiation, and finally they may be getting a little bit closer, and that is Conor McGregor, the MMA star, the outspoken MMA star, and Floyd Mayweather, the outspoken boxer, undefeated. Conor McGregor has now said yes to his side of the deal if they're going to meet.
He has. So McGregor has agreed to a deal with Dana White and UFC. His end of the deal was probably the hardest because he won't get as much money as Money Mayweather, and his ego, and it's massive and it's big and he's earned that, some people thought would get in the way. The fact that Conor has signed up means this fight, it's going to happen.
What are they getting?
We don't know.
We don't know.
It'll be, I mean, Mayweather will easily make $100 million.
Price.
Yeah, and I would imagine Conor will make 40 to 60. And then you also, there's splits that are negotiated in terms of the pay-per-view. It'll be enough money to change each of their lives and their descendants' lives for many years.
So when Floyd bets on the Cavs Warriors series, he's got plenty of cash to do. So I haven't. There certainly has been discussion now about the rules. What's going to happen? Do we know who?
We don't. And I talked actually to Rashad Evans yesterday, who knows some of the folks in those camps, a UFC fighter, and it sounds like those conversations are still going on. What will the glove sizes be? What will the size of the ring be? We don't know.
But there's going to be no grappling. There's going to be no kicking, we assume.
None that's legal. So it'll be a straight boxing match. But the point Rashad and other sources have made is when they sort of tangle up, Conor's going to be able to do some cheap shots and maybe, some elbows that aren't allowed but could theoretically wear Mayweather down a little bit.
So what else did Rashad Evans say? This is a former UFC champion.
Yeah, I mean, his take. So the boxers I've talked to have said Money Mayweather will win, McGregor has no chance. But the UFC fighters, and I think they're right, including Rashad, has said, look, a puncher's chance. Mayweather's 40. McGregor can win this thing.
Right. Well, but the difference is also that with Floyd, it's always been about defense.
Right.
And so it's not like he's going to go out and knock out anyone necessarily. You or I, but not in the first round, because he just can afford to play that game.
You're absolutely right. He's technically perfect, and he plays remarkable defense. I think the one weakness or concern for him, he's also always played defense in who he fights. He fought Canelo too soon. He fought Pacquiao too late. He's going to get Conor McGregor, not a boxer, but at the height of his powers. If anybody can beat Mayweather, I think it's when Mayweather's 40 and he's fighting someone who's got nothing to lose and can do it.
And this does not factor into that. I mean, there's also Mayweather's record right now. Is it 49-0 or 50?
It is 49-0. So he's tied with Rocky Marciano, for the best of all time.
But then does this then count in that? We don't know what the jurisdiction is. Where's the location?
It will count. So it sounds like Vegas. McGregor just signed up for a boxing license in Las Vegas. They haven't approved it yet, but they said that they probably will. Let's say it was you or me, but I'd rather it be you because I don't want it to be me. If you got a license and you fought Mayweather, you poor guy, it would count for Mayweather. He'd be 50-0.
Who would you rather fight?
I would much rather fight Mayweather because I'm hoping he would sort of avoid me. I don't want to fight either guy.
Just like linger back, you win.
I'd be in trouble.
You can have this one. What else are you watching this weekend?
So I'll be watching a lot of baseball, and I want to see what happens with Jose Bautista. He had a bat flip situation against the Braves, and I'm hoping every time he hits a home run, he starts flipping his bat in the air because I want baseball to be a little more exciting. And most of my focus is going to be the NBA this weekend.